Dad, let's get right to it. Did you like this movie?
Oh. I will say this. I have a different reaction to this movie every time I see it. What do you think of that?
Rather interesting.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll do what I can. The Film Forum, Serling. It's an amazing classic movie theater in New York City. That may have been the first time I saw Dracula all the way through. So not until my mid-20s. And with a very cerebral date, Julie. Very smart. So I may have been trying to impress her. But I really liked this then when I saw it.
So I beat you big time because this was my second time seeing this.
That's true. Yeah, but how much did you remember from your first time?
Not much.
Okay.
Like, I'm going to do
you were
it.
pretty young. You were probably 6, which should be a tip-off to where I'm going to be going with my recommended age for this movie.
It's kind of surprising that you didn't see this when you were a kid.
I probably did, but I was never really into vampires.
Oh, for shame.
And certainly not like old school classical vampires like this.
Yeah, because they're not werewolves.
Oh, check out American Werewolf in London.
No,
episode.
check out Dog Soldiers.
No, check out both. And Curse of the Werewolf
Old
from
news.
last season. What?
That's old news.
You know, I'm trying to get us to 2,000 downloads here, Serling. Don't call our previous terrific episodes old news. It runs counter to our whole goal. So,
Yeah.
I'm in my mid-20s, Film Forum in New York City. That's the first place that I at least really paid attention to Dracula.
Because you needed to, because you were with a very, very smart girl, apparently.
Yes, maybe that had something to do with it. But I think I was just in a different place to take in something that I had been resistant to earlier in my life, my date notwithstanding. But I was also immediately appreciative to be there. It was Halloween night that we went. Halloween, New York City, and presumably in most parts of the world. So that may have been influencing my inner keel.
So you liked it for her?
No, I think I was just actively embracing another chance to take the movie in under more romantic circumstances, being that it was Halloween, not that I was on a date.
Did you hold her hand at least during the movie?
Oh, that's none of your business, whether I hold her hand.
Come on! That's not a big deal.
That's a big deal. Holding hands during a horror movie? Are you kidding me? You're not ready for that. You're not even ready to hear details on stuff like that happened to me. Give me a recap.
Okay. No Daddy Dumb Sum?
No Daddy Dumb Sum for
Aw.
this. Come on, I gave you 2 in a row.
But everybody loves it. Remember that letter that we got?
Yeah, I remember that letter.
Renfield, not Jonathan Harker. They're going a bit.
Like in the book, yeah.
Yeah. Travels all the way up to Transylvania to get the signature of the fearsome Count Dracula, a.k.a. Bela Lugosi, on a deed for, like, sort of rundown piece of property in
Yeah, I don't
faraway
think he's
London.
looking for something fancy glam.
Dracula sees the picture of Renfield's girlfriend. Wait, no, he doesn't.
No, he doesn't.
I'm like-
You're confusing it with the original story, which you read, right? You read like
Yes.
a graphic novel version of it, in expurgated form.
What does that mean? Expurgated?
It's like a shortened version, like so some stuff gets left out of an expurgated version of something.
Huh. I wonder what I missed out on.
The book's pretty thick. You'll be ready to read it pretty soon.
So, going back to the story, Dracula never drinks wine.
No.
I never drink wine.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. Then Renfield cuts his finger and Dracula gets super excited until Renfield's crucifix pops out and repels him.
Mm-hmm.
Dracula gets him later, though, chasing away his ghostly brides who try to get to him
I
first.
liked those guys.
Of course you did.
Oh, they're cool.
But Dracula now has Renfield under his control. And they take a boat ride to London with Renfield protecting his now master, who is lying snug in a box full of dirt in the ship's hull. Basically, the bottom of the boat.
The bottom of the boat that's not on the water side.
Yeah, Dracula isn't sleeping under the obviously, he never.
Just
no.
want our listeners to be clear.
You're trying to give me a hard time on this, aren't you?
I am not. Okay, maybe a little.
I knew it.
So then what? It's hard to sum up a story that probably everyone out there knows, at least to some extent. So the ship, the Vesta, not the Demeter, like in Bram Stoker's novel. A lot of differences from the source material. But they transports Renfield and the Count to London.
Once in London, Dracula gets, straight to work and kills a poor flower girl in the dark streets.
SUF? Serling's unfortunate favorite? You always love a character who's sort of pitiful and is obviously one of the first to be killed in a horror movie.
Sad, but no, she's not my SUF in this.
Just checking in.
Second place, I would say.
That's a solid pick.
Then Dracula goes to the theater and
decides to take in a show.
Phantom of the Opera time.
Cats anywhere, cats.
And he kind of influences / hypnotizes his way into meeting Mina and Lucy.
I like that scene.
That was a good scene.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was going to kill them, and I was like, no, you already drank blood.
Not in public, in front of everybody.
And he meets Mina's fiancé, Jonathan Harker, who should have been...
You should have met him earlier.
Yeah. He really makes an impression on poor Lucy, who sadly becomes his next victim.
Next. Like neck. Because he bites her neck. And then you just have to add a stuff.
You can't go one episode without making a bad joke, can you?
I've gone a couple. So Dracula kills Lucy, and then he tries to move along to Mina.
But Mina's dad, who runs the asylum that Renfield is being held in.
Season 1.
Yes.
Take a listen.
Good movie. Mina's dad seeks out the help of a certain Dr. Van Helsing, the guy
Ever heard of him?
Who you would want to go to fight off the supernatural powers of darkness. They try to protect Mina by cramming her room full of garlic, but Dracula gets to her anyway and steals away with her to Carfax Abbey, his home away from home.
And Renfield seems torn between protecting Mina and serving his dark master. And he ends up leading Jonathan and Van Helsing right to the Abbey, where the final showdown is about to begin.
It's not much of a showdown.
It's not really, is it?
No.
We'll get there. There are better showdowns in other movies.
Yeah. All right, trailer.
I am Dracula. A moment ago, I stumbled upon a most amazing phenomenon. Something so incredible, I mistrust my own judgment. Look.
Dracula. The very mention of the name brings to mind things so evil, so fantastic, so degrading. You wonder if it isn't all a dream, a nightmare.
Rats. Thousands. Millions of them.
But no, this is no dream. This is Dracula, the original terrifying story of a maniac and a man who lived after death, lived on human blood, took the form of a vampire bat, and lured innocent girls to a fate truly worse than death.
Dracula? Oh, what's he done to you, dear? Tell me.
He came to me. He opened a vein in his arm, and he made me drink.
What are you going recommended age?
I went 9. Actually, I think a 10-year-old would be...
Why not 9?
I'm rethinking about the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no, 9.
I would say watch this whenever you want with your kids. You absolutely do not have to wait until they're in their mid-20s. In fact, don't. But other than, you got some atmospheric shots.
And Renfield talking about bugs, which... It gets a little gross,
Not
but
just
that's...
bugs, just eating bugs.
Yeah, there's not much to get freaked out about.
Yeah, so go watch.
Well, except Renfield laughing at the bottom of the ship.
It's a little freaky. But again, I'm going to say, would you let a 6-year-old watch this? Because that's how old you probably were when I let you watch this.
No, I wouldn't.
Oh, okay. So you'd wait until they were 9.
Probably 8.
Okay, so now we're shifting downwards. What about 7?
No.
You're just drawing a hard line now. All right,
Yeah.
go watch.
I feel bad for Dracula that he has to drive his own coach.
What do you mean?
Because, like, when the coach comes to pick up Renfield to take him to the castle,
Oh, Dracula's
you
driving
expect
it.
somebody else, and you're like, oh, wait,
Maybe he
why
got
is
hungry
driving?
and he ate his coachman. Maybe it's been like slim pickings around Transylvania. Villagers certainly seem to be wary of him and know how to avoid him at this point, right?
Yeah.
So this is one of director Todd Browning's 2 most famous movies. The other is my personal favorite of his, Freaks. That's from 1932, which features one of the most terrifying sequences in movie history.
Wait, what that see?
You'll see it when we get to the F's in just 2 seasons from right now. So Browning was a carnival performer before he turned actor and later director. So he definitely had
A past.
an affinity for the dark and
Yes.
the macabre. And he also directed a lot of interesting silent movies starring Lon Chaney Sr. He did The Unholy Three, The Penalty, and the film that's lost, London After Midnight. That one,
Oh, yeah.
which we've talked about before.
I wanted to watch that so bad.
It's like the most sought-after film in history that no one can find anymore. They think it burned in a fire. I think it was for MGM. So they had a fire, and they think it burned with a lot of other movies.
What's your one-word review?
What's yours?
You go. I need to think about mine.
Okay. Necessary.
Necessary.
And that's not a bad thing, but you kind of need to watch this just to check the box, you know? If you want a historical appreciation of where all of American horror cinema started really full force, and this is it. This is the movie that opened the gates.
Huh. I went with... I'm trying to think of, like, how to sum...
This is the perfect time to do it.
I know,
rather
isn't
than
it?
being prepared.
Like, I'm trying to think of one word just to
Yeah, that's the point.
sum-
How about unprepared? Oh, no, that's you. That's my one-word review of you.
Gosh, you're so mean.
Okay, moving on.
No.
Okay, so class of 1931. This is, like we said, this is the movie that started it off in the year that started it all off.
We've talked about this year a lot because this was when Universal Studios started, like, the monster craze. They released this, then Frankenstein, and then Jekyll and Hyde, all this year.
Take a listen to all those podcasts. We've done them.
You know what we should do? We
What?
should rate them, like, we should rate them all against each other.
All the movies from 1931?
Yes.
Okay, I like that. Maybe we do it at the end where we're giving our fearometer and funometer ratings.
Yeah.
Okay, so stick around, everybody.
Yeah.
So what about pluses? What do we like?
I feel like we say this a lot, but the sets,
Yeah.
they're really great, especially the castle and, like, the crypts.
The cobweb spinner really earned his paycheck on this movie. There are cobwebs all over the place.
The acting is interesting because, like, some of the actors are really good and then others not so great.
Yeah, or more they're acting in the style of the time, which tended to be overacting.
Oh.
Because I think actors were still figuring out how to transition from the stage and theater acting to the big screen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're...
It took them a few years to realize that they didn't always have to go so big and melodramatic to get their vibe across.
Yeah, we're having that problem in musical theater.
Are you? In Cats?
Yeah.
Some big feline performances.
Yeah.
Great. Got that to look forward to next month. Whose acting did you like?
Obviously Bela Lugosi's.
Yeah, he did. There's no way around it. He's classic in this. He does a great job. He's got the creepy stares down. And for a guy who learned English phonetically,
I know.
he does it. He makes it seem like he knows what he's doing.
I also loved Renfield's acting.
Yeah.
I feel like he was born for this specific part. Like,
I think he's best known for this part.
he works so well with what he
He
got.
did a lot of movies, though. But he's, probably most famous as Renfield from this.
Yes.
I like the background painting. So you mentioned the sets, but the shots of the mountain and the castle and the coach driving up towards it, really well done. I like that Dracula doesn't break the web when he passes through it, when he's greeting Renfield. And I love that we said the brides, the first look of the brides walking through the catacombs.
Those were awesome.
What else did you like?
When, Renfield got cut in the Count's reaction.
Mm-hmm. Classic.
He wanted him very badly.
It's an interesting choice that they went with Renfield coming with the deed for Dracula to sign versus Jonathan Harker.
I know.
But it does make sense to have him be the first to meet Dracula. But then you don't get that connection to Mina until later. It's interesting the choice that they made to do that.
Renfield laughing at the bottom of the ship. Obviously.
Yeah.
So good. So freaky, so creepy, so leaky. I don't know.
I love, speaking of the boat scene, I love the shadow of the dead captain tied to the wheel of the boat.
I loved that when, Mina and Lucy are in the girls' room, and the lamp shadow is kind of, it reminded me of a bat.
Yeah, it does look like there's a bat shadow on the wall. And so after they meet Dracula at the theater, and Lucy is obviously
perplexed by him.
Smitten, I would say. But yeah, she's under his spell. And yeah, I don't think it's intentional, but it's again, when you're in the mood to get sucked into this movie, you start noticing little details that maybe were put in there by Todd Browning, maybe not, but you fall under this movie's spell a little bit too, just like people are falling under Dracula's. I love the mirror scene when Van Helsing traps him. It's done really well. The performances are great, and how it's shot and how it's edited together.
You would think that Dracula, being, alive all this time, would be a little more careful when he enters a room to look around and make sure there aren't any mirrors that would give him away.
Yeah, were mirrors that much of a novelty back then? I wouldn't think so, but I don't know. Anything else that you liked? I liked it when Dracula was trying to, bring Van Helsing onto his side and Van Helsing was like, no, I'm not. He started to walk for it, and then he was like, no. I like that, too. I like Dracula's line when he goes, to die, to be really dead, that must be glorious. Because you get the feeling that he's a little tortured that he's been alive for so long, maybe he would really like to be dead. So I don't feel so bad for him at the end. Spoiler alert. I liked Dracula wrapping Mina in his cloak when he's outside. Yeah, that was good. Pulling her in. That. But to your point, I love Van Helsing resisting Dracula's hypnosis. There's some really good acting there. You know what else I liked? What? Rats. Oh, what happened? No, when Renfield's talking about eating the rats. Oh, Renfield's rats soliloquy. Yeah, that's cool. Is Renfield your unfortunate favorite? Yeah. He is kind of a tragic character, right? You feel bad for him at the end when he's trying to kind of help them and protect Mina, but also he's being pulled by this other force that he's being controlled by. Yeah. I also feel bad for Lucy. She didn't deserve that. You're better than this girl. And I liked Lucy after, the sort of when she attacks the child in the park. The mysterious woman in white that they keep talking about, yeah. That's a creepy scene. No way to get around that. Attacking a child in a horror movie. It'll always get some sort of reaction. Yeah. All right. Hold on. One last note about the sets. When Renfield is running up those stairs at the end and then that was awesome. Falling back down, and the catacombs look great when they're stalking Dracula and trying to find him to kill him at the end. His death's off screen, which is interesting. You don't see him die. You sort of think of Dracula dying in a very graphic way after that stake goes through his heart and then turning to ashes. Not in this one. But we can talk about that. Maybe that's a plus, maybe that's a minus. I don't know. Well, we're past pluses, so. Okay. Ooh, Dad, I have a feature that we can add to our podcast. Oh, okay. You know, for pluses and minuses. Right. I was thinking that we can do things that don't really fall into the category of a plus or a minus. Sort of like our... this is interesting, but so it's not really... So it doesn't fit neatly into plus, doesn't fit neatly into minuses, but it's stuff we want to talk about anyway? Yeah. Yeah. What should we call it? So pluses, minuses, and... I don't know. So what's your for Dracula? Do you have one? Or you just want to add it? No, I have a Okay. My is...
You know, at the very beginning where he's emerging from his coffin?
Mm-hmm. I think I know what you're going to say. Yeah?
You know, as his hand is coming out of the coffin, there's just, like, right after, there's just a bee that comes out.
Yeah. There's a bee that comes out of a little coffin. So it's a shot of his hand coming out. Then I think you get another shot of, like, a muskrat. And then a shot of another coffin opening, and you see, like, one of his bride's faces. And then it cuts to a bee coming out of a little coffin.
I don't know if that was supposed to be a fly or...
No, it's supposed to be a bee, I think.
Really?
It's actually a Jerusalem cricket.
How do you know this?
I have no life. And it's a clearer shot in the Mexican version, but in the American version, they just shoot it kind of from the back, so you can't really tell. So I guess you're supposed to think it's a bee, but I have no idea why it's in there. I don't think it's in the book. I don't know. Do you know why it's in there?
No, don't look at me.
You had nothing to do with this.
No, nothing.
The only thing I could find in researching this is that in ancient Egypt, bees were like a religious symbol. They were worshipped as a symbol of like abundance and resurrection. So that could be a symbol of that.
Yeah.
But it's an unusual shot.
It is.
And I think it kind of takes away, because it goes from the bee to then you see Dracula fully out of his coffin. And it takes away, your mind has still got all these question marks from this. It's either a giant bee coming out of a regular-sized coffin or a teeny bee coming out of a teeny coffin. But either way, it kind of distracts your brain from full impact of Dracula for the first time.
Yeah, it is.
All right.
Or it
I
does.
like our new feature.
Now we are on our Serling Spotlight,
Can
and
you flip this on? Okay.
thank you. Dwight Fry,
Oh,
aka
okay.
Renfield.
Have you done Bela Lugosi for something else?
I think for Body Snatcher.
Oh, that makes sense.
Go back to season 2.
Oh, yeah. Take a listen. So Dwight Fry, yeah, we were talking about him earlier. We like his performance a lot in this. Known for playing sort of creepy, unstable character types.
He was a concert pianist.
Really?
Yes. He was in Bride of Frankenstein.
Yes, he played... And Frankenstein.
And Frankenstein, yes. And Son of Frankenstein and Ghost of Frankenstein. Yeah,
But
he was in them all.
But that's cool. When we talk about the big 3 movies of 1931, he's in 2 of them.
I know.
Edward Van Sloan is also in 2 of them. Edward Van Sloan plays...
He is?
Yeah, he's Frankenstein's professor in Frankenstein, and he's Van Helsing in this.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought I recognized his voice from something.
Yeah,
He
and he's
sounded
also in
very
The
familiar.
Mummy, which I think comes out 2 years after this, 2 or 3 years after this. So Edward Van Sloan is in 3 of the big ones.
Wow. So Dwight Fry was in World War II. He worked nights for Lockheed Aircraft, which is kind of
so
like
he was still acting, but at night he would go and contribute to the war effort by working at Lockheed Martin. That's awesome.
He was a cool guy.
I like him.
I do too. He was in A Strange Adventure.
Okay. Never heard of that.
And Invisible Man as playing a reporter.
He's in The Invisible Man too, this guy. Wow. So he did 3 just like Edward Van Sloan. So Edward Van Sloan's Frankenstein, Dracula. What did we say? The Mummy. And Dwight Fry's Frankenstein, Dracula, and The Invisible Man. 2 very cool character actors in the early days of American horror cinema.
That's kind of fascinating.
It is very interesting.
That's a cool fact.
These guys, even though they were smaller parts, they were smaller parts in big, big movies. He really put his stamp on American horror movies, Dwight Fry.
Bands did tributes to Dwight.
Like
rock and roll bands.
Oh, like who?
Like Alice something.
Alice Cooper?
Yes.
Oh, he's the guy who sings Welcome to My Nightmare that I sometimes play if a movie that we cover inspires a nightmare in that head of yours. What was the song called that Alice Cooper did for Dwight Fry?
I cannot find that.
No, you couldn't find it, or you just didn't write it down?
I just didn't write it down.
You ask one question and the foundation just crumbles.
Well, you're the one asking the questions about...
Well,
stop.
I'm curious. You can't tell me that.
He was in the first film version of Maltese Falcon.
The Maltese Falcon?
Yes.
I didn't even know there was a first version. I just know the Humphrey Bogart one.
Yeah.
Cool. I wonder if he plays the Peter Lorre part. That'd be my guess.
He died age...
I love that the deaths are always a part of your spotlight. So when did he die?
He was age 44 on He died on a bus because
young.
of a heart attack.
He had a heart attack on a bus?
Yeah, which is actually insane because he took really good care of himself.
Did he? That's part of your research? Oh.
Yeah, it's not like he wasn't like borderline diabetic. He didn't.
You checked his medical records for
yes,
your Serling
yes, I
Spotlight
did.
research?
He didn't have like any diseases, just
heart disease.
And he was about to start a film on the life of Woodrow Wilson.
Do you know who Woodrow Wilson is?
No, I do not.
He's one of our presidents. I think our 28th president. So, wow, so he died on a bus. I felt bad for him a little bit. I mean, I still feel bad for him, but I thought he was like down on his luck and taking a bus.
No.
But he was about to start working a big movie. Oh, 44. That's young.
I know.
I mean, it was even young for back then where people were dying earlier, but 44 is too young. All right. Negatives. What did we not like about Dracula?
Oh, let me just crack my knuckles.
There's a lot you didn't like about this?
The ending was so awful. You didn't see... A, you didn't see Dracula die. B, I was so confused because Van Helsing said, I've got more work to do. And I'm like, okay, are we going to see that? And they didn't let us see that.
And then it just ends.
Yeah. What happened to Lucy?
Yeah.
Where are the brides? They're still alive, stupid.
Maybe that's what he means by I've got more work to do.
I know, but he doesn't know where they are because he walked upstairs. They would be downstairs, wouldn't they?
In the catacombs, you would think.
Yeah.
All right, this movie sucks.
Is it one of those movies where you kill the main vampire,
and
they're
then
all
that
gone?
Causes sort of like an American Werewolf. Take a listen.
Yeah.
Like once you kill the main werewolf, everybody gets to be set free who's been a victim of that werewolf. I don't know, though. I don't know, but I found this movie a little boring in the past, but I definitely didn't find it boring this time around. I like that I get different reactions every time I watched it. So I liked it a lot this time, but it's a little slow moving. Would you agree?
I would agree.
Like you're like, just get to the Carfax Abbey. Let's get this showdown on the road.
Yeah, they take a while to do that. SGS is...
And Serling got scared. Serling got stressed. Serling got shivery.
I'm trying to... No, I don't think so.
Not even the creepy first scene with the brides coming out of the crypts? No? All right, so 0 SGS. I get that. Want to do coolest kill or want to do fight, freeze?
Coolest kill.
3.
Wait,
2.
No. Wait, I need to think.
I'm trying to think and nothing happened.
Wait, let's review our kills, okay?
Okay. So we have Lucy, presumably. Right, you got to count that.
Flower Girl.
Forgot about her.
Wow. That's sad.
Renfield, Dracula, but we can't really count.
Yeah,
the main
I'm not
villain.
counting Dracula at all.
So I think it's just those 3. Not a lot of cool.
Wait,
kills
how
to
did
choose
Lucy
from.
die?
Well, he kills her. She becomes the undead.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Renfield.
Renfield.
I mean, it's obvious. He's got that big tumble down the stairs after pleading for his life.
No.
It's a great dramatic scene. And
how do you die from falling down the stairs?
Well, doesn't he kind of choke him first? But you can you can break your neck from falling down a flight of stairs.
That doesn't mean you die.
Yeah, usually when people break their neck from tumbling down 70 stairs in an old castle in a horror movie, they break their neck and die.
Okay. Fair. Flight, freeze.
Who'll be giving the fight and who's just probably gonna freeze?
Fight Van Helsing. He fights during that scene, doesn't he?
I mean, fighting is kind of his MO.
Yeah. Boy, I wish we could have seen him fighting against the other 4 vampires left out there.
I'll tell you who also fights. Who you think I'm going to say? Someone who's fighting with his inner soul.
Renfield.
Yeah. Because he's like, I don't want any harm to come to Mina, but I have to obey.
Yeah, or else you're going to die.
Yeah. So he fights. Any flight? Dracula kind of runs away once he realizes that Van Helsing is onto him. He splits. Turns into a bat.
bye-bye.
Or no, he turns into a wolf and runs away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is interesting. He is the one who is in terror at that moment, even though he's the cause of most of the terror in this movie. Freeze.
I guess Renfield freezes. He kind of faints at the sight of the bat, and then Dracula takes.
Oh, at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tomato.
Tomato. What do you think this got on Rotten Tomatoes, Serling?
60%.
What?
No, I'm kidding. 70.
94%.
No.
My research is solid, unlike your Spotlight research.
Hey.
Mine stands out to scrutiny.
Don't you be talking about my Spotlight.
So, 94%, and I did a little research on vampire movies in general. So this isn't even the highest ranked of all vampire movies. There's a movie from the next year after this one called Vampire, which got a 98%, and also Let the Right One In.
Yay.
About the little girl who's a vampire and befriends the little boy who's getting picked on by the boys.
That movie.
Yeah, so the original from 2008, they both got 98%, that and Vampire. But also at 94%, we have The Dark Knight. We have Superman. We have Moneyball. Daddy likes that one a lot. We have American Movie, which is great. It's a documentary about an unlikely guy desperately trying to make a movie about a witch, a coven of witches. We need to watch that. Coda, which I still really want to see, also at 94%. Aliens. Die Hard.
Oh, yeah.
Iron Man.
Yes!
And one that you have seen bits and pieces of, but not the whole thing, Snowpiercer, about the people living on that train.
Deserving
It's
from
really
what
cool.
I've seen.
And then a movie that we own but we haven't watched yet, Prey.
We own that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Because I had to buy it because it was like on a channel that we don't subscribe to. And I really, really want to see it. You ready for Guess the Tomato?
Yeah. What
All
are
right.
we playing for?
We're playing for college fund money this round. So, classic movie, we're going to do a classic Guess the Tomato stakes here. So, we're going to start you off at $500. I pick another movie that scored 94% on Rotten Tomatoes. If you guess it with one clue, you get $500. If we have to get another clue, you get 400, then 300, 200, etc. So, this 94% Rotten Tomatoes movie has Harrison Ford in it. One of our favorites.
Witness.
It's not Witness.
Wait, let me think. The Patriot Game.
Patriot Games? Nope.
Indiana Jones.
For 400. This Harrison Ford movie has music by John Williams. And Harrison is not playing Indiana Jones. And it's not Witness, which you've seen most of. And it's not Blade Runner, which for some reason you have no interest in watching, even though it has Madison from Splash in it.
Wait, it does?
I told you that. All right, maybe we'll watch that tonight.
Yay.
You have a guess? So John Williams music, Harrison Ford's in it. It's not Indiana Jones. $300 we're down to.
I'm thinking.
This 94% Rotten Tomatoes movie with music by John Williams features Harrison Ford kissing the crazy girl from Blues Brothers.
Oh! Star Wars!
Which Star Wars?
Your favorite one.
Which is? All right, I'll give it to you. Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, I don't remember the name of that.
You want the $200 clue?
Yeah.
You had a legitimate SGS moment during this movie when a Wampa killed a Tauntaun. You would have gotten it from that, right?
Yeah, I would have been like, oh.
All right.
Give me my $300, please.
I will make the deposit into your account.
You can just give it to me.
Do you want to go one higher or one lower than 94%? 93%. We were just talking about this movie, Heathers.
Yay!
Memento, which is great. Star Wars The Force Awakens, where Kylo Ren kills Han Solo. And 48 Hours.
48 Hours?
Yeah,
Yay!
93%. So one higher than this at 95%, Nosferatu, the 1979 remake of the original by the astounding Werner Herzog. Wallace and Gromit, Curse of the Were-Rabbit.
That got hard.
One better than this movie. Do you agree?
I kind of agree.
And a pretty decent creepy movie called It Follows.
I've heard of that.
Have you?
Yes.
What have you heard about it?
I've heard that it's good.
It's pretty good. And another great horror movie called Train to Busan.
Train de Busan.
About zombies on a train.
Oh, God. All right, Bondometer.
Lay it on me. Yeah.
This is a 94% Casino Royale between a 92% Skyfall
and
a 95%
95%.
Doctor.
I was going to say From Russia with Love, but Doctor No, 95%.
Yes. Which I wanted to rewatch a few days ago.
Yeah, we can do that. How about our ratings? What are you giving Dracula on the Fearometer?
I gave it a 2.
Okay.
It is not scary for the likes of me, but probably for a normal person.
I gave it a 2.5 because it's got some real atmosphere and a creepy performance by Dwight Frye.
Yes.
And a really good, if not terribly terrifying, inaugural performance by Lugosi.
Yes.
How about your funometer?
I gave it a 4.
All right.
Don't judge me.
No, that's higher than I gave it. Why a 4?
Because it has some playful moments to it.
I want to find out more about that bee. Dracula's pet bee. Maybe the bee stung Dracula and he was so infuriated that he enslaved it forever.
And now it just lives with him?
Yeah.
That's kind.
That's how I'm going to explain it from now on. I gave it 3.5, so half a point lower than you.
Okay.
Edward Van Sloan, Lugosi, they make it fun, especially when they square off. Their opposing dynamic really works in the scenes that they share. They don't have a lot of scenes together, but I like the ones that they do.
Impactometer, I gave it a 7.5.
I got to go all the way up to 9 for this because it's the first. It's not the best. It's not even the best of the year.
Wait, this is the first
Yeah,
Dracula?
this came out before Frankenstein. So this is the first of 1931, the year that started.
Okay, 8.5. I'm bumping mine up.
Yeah. Supremely important for kind of what it helped to kick off.
So speaking
obviously.
of the big 3 of this year,
Oh,
let's
right.
do our
We're gonna do,
1931 big 3.
What are we doing? So we're ranking Dracula, Frankenstein, and
Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah, I always forget about that one.
Wow.
So we're ranking them in terms of, okay, scariest out of those 3. 3,
2, 1. Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah, I almost said Frankenstein, but I mean Jekyll and Hyde.
Dad, no, you said Frankenstein. Go with your gut. Go with your gut.
No, it wasn't my gut. It was a mistake. All right. You know what? I can make a case for Frankenstein. You make your case for Jekyll and Hyde.
Jekyll and Hyde. For the imaginary wall that nobody can see. But we say that it is real because it is. The photos...
Oh, you're pointing into the studio. I thought you were talking about the internal wall that no one can see between good and evil.
No. But it's so freaky. The dynamic between the characters, who's Hyde, it's very mysterious.
He's a really good actor, that Frederick Marsh.
Yeah,
he deserved the Oscar that year.
Yes, he did.
I'll say Frankenstein because Boris Karloff is amazing. That first reveal of the creature is great. He backs into the room and then turns around. It's really kind of spectacular. And that performance is I think, just as good as Frederick Marsh. How about funnest of the big 3? 3, 2, 1.
Jekyll
Frankenstein.
And Hyde.
Wow. Jekyll and Hyde would probably be on the bottom of my list.
Is there something wrong with me?
Yeah, I've got here. Where do I start?
So I went Jekyll and Hyde because I am a sucker for a mystery movie which also has horror and romance. I am such a sucker for that type of stuff.
There's a fair amount of romance in that.
Yeah, it's such a good movie, and
it covers a lot of ground, that movie.
I just think him jumping around, those shadows.
Turning into a monkey man at the end.
Yeah.
All right. Impactometer. 3, 2, 1. Frankenstein. I think the look of the character is so iconic. I think his performance is perfect.
It's such a good performance.
It's mostly silent, so he has to act with his eyes, and he has those heavy lids on his eyes. So I don't know how he gets that performance across in just like kind of grunts and whines.
Yeah, but you just feel so bad for him, and it's so impactful for your heart.
It's the most tragic of the 3, and I think tragedy leaves an impact on the soul.
Yeah.
And I think it's the one that most people talk about the most now, almost 100 years later. All right, favorite Partridge Family songs. 3, 2, 1.
What?
I'll meet you halfway.
Oh, Partridge. Okay, next time on DDSH DD Spod, is that website fixed?
Please stop asking me that.
So this was early Dracula, but not earliest Dracula.
I know. We need to figure out a way to watch Nosferatu sometime soon. I don't want to wait until season 20.
Yeah, I'm not waiting.
What would that be? Season 14.
Still too long. We'll crowbar it in somewhere.
Yeah.
But
sure.
Next time, we're getting a Dracula reboot, a reimagining.
For a new horror audience who wanted something a little more 25 years after this offering.
And we get to really introduce one of my favorite actors, Peter Cushing.
One of your favorite actors? What do you know him from?
let me just do something. Star Wars!
Okay, yeah, he's got a small role in that. Well, I'm glad you'll be adding some more to your Peter Cushing knowledge repertoire. So, yeah, we'll see you next time.
Yeah, see you next time.
Bye.